Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to the Rah Rabbit. So first off, I just want to apologise for not having any video content this month. As usual, my mood and my overall mental health kind of dictates what I can and cannot do. And as much as there is stuff that I would love to be getting on with, consistency is a pretty difficult thing for me to achieve, unfortunately. As well as that, I'm thinking that maybe I will take down my Patreon page, just because I'm not sure if that is the best way to go about doing things for me, again because of consistency, and I don't want to let people down if I can't deliver on what was promised. But I have I've opened up a Ko-fi page, which is kind of similar. I just post my artwork there and people can donate as and when they want. It isn't a repeat sort of subscription thing like Patreon. You can give as little as $1. It's just kind of there for donation. So if you're interested in that, feel free to go and check that out. So with all that out of the way, let's get on with the video. When it comes to dissociative identity disorder, there is still a lot of stuff that we don't understand or haven't figured out yet. I would say that things are still pretty much in their infancy when it comes to understanding this disorder. And I'm always very interested to hear about other people's experiences and to see if other people have similar experiences to what I've had. Now, when I go on online forums and groups and stuff like that, I often see people posting about cannabis and DID, if people with DID have used cannabis and what effects they have found it has. And this is something that I find quite interesting as someone who has dabbled in that area and has found cannabis to be a very therapeutic herb when used correctly. And one of the things that I've noticed when people talk about cannabis and DID is that their switches are a lot more rapid. So people will find that their alters will come out a lot more when they have consumed cannabis in some way, or that they are likely to switch between alters a lot more frequently and with a lot more ease, which for some people could be really, really good. For some people that could be a massive negative, but that does seem to be quite consistent throughout the responses that I have seen, and something that I have found. So for my personal experience with cannabis, when it comes to DID or OSDD, or the experiences that I have, I do find that my mind is kind of a lot quieter. Now, I hear my guys quite a lot of the time and it can get pretty busy in there. So with cannabis, I do find it kind of quietens them down a bit. They tend to be a lot calmer. I guess if I'm high, then they're also high. So that's kind of interesting, but I find that if they are around when I am high, that they will be easier to talk to, they will be clearer to hear, but they will be quieter in the sense that there isn't just so much like background noise and stuff going on. It's more like they're calmer and we can talk better, and there is a lot more kind of switching going on. Now, again, this is my personal experience, and as I said, a lot of people have reported having very similar experiences, but ultimately there's not really a great deal of research in this area, so I can't tell you if something is definite or not, but that does seem to be what a lot of people have said. Now, there are some voices or alters that react slightly differently. Darren, for example, the person who is always very angry and very threatening and is typically quite paranoid, if he is around and I've used cannabis, then that he can get even more paranoid. But I'm able to realize that is a side effect of the cannabis. I find that dissociation can sometimes get worse. I mean, after all, that is quite common for people who use cannabis anyway, regardless of whether you've got a dissociative disorder or not. So long-term use, I find the dissociation can get a bit worse, but I guess as a sort of medical use, as a therapeutic use from time to time, or just used carefully, that it's very helpful in getting my guys to kind of quieten down, but also be able to talk more clearer. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like we get more to the point. We can kind of talk just better in those situations. Now, of course, I have also heard people talking about using cannabis and it having a very negative effect. Again, this is, pretty standard of cannabis in general, regardless of psychiatric disorders or not. People do have negative what word am I thinking? Side effects of using cannabis. So I'm not telling people to go out and use cannabis as a means of medicating themselves. If you don't use cannabis normally, I'm not going to suggest that you start using it now to get better communication with alters, because as I said, this is just people's personal experiences. There's nothing concrete behind this, so of course use carefully. If you're someone who has DID or OSDD, or has experiences that exist within the same genre, I guess, and you use cannabis, it would be really great to hear your experiences, if it's similar to what I have said today, or if it's completely different. So that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about, really, is to kind of put that out there and see if other people are experiencing the same thing. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I have been Max, aka the Rara Rabbit, and I'll see you in the next video.